I'd like to give an overview of the PrePARED project on behalf of all the project partners. This is a 4-year project which started at the beginning of 2022. It's funded through the Crown Estate's Offshore Wind Evidence and Change programme with additional support from Crown Estate Scotland and Scottish developers. The project is led by Marine Scotland Science and it involves multiple partners from both the UK and overseas, government, academic bodies, nature conservation agencies and industry partners. The overall aim of the project is to de-risk consenting by reducing uncertainty in cumulative impact assessments for future developments. Our focus is on top predators, marine mammals and seabirds, where the key concerns have been around, for marine mammals, injury and disturbance from noise during construction, particularly from power driving, and for seabirds, collision risk with turbines and also displacement during operation of offshore wind farms. Over the last 10 years, as we've heard at previous ScotMed meetings, there have been developments in frameworks to predict the population consequences of these impacts for both seabirds and marine mammals. This includes frameworks such as DPONS and interim PCOD and Seaboard, and we'll hear more about some of those in a later talk on cumulative effects. Despite these advances, there are a number of uncertainties which constrain future consenting. These frameworks have only been used for consenting, and so far we really don't know how robust those predictions are when it comes to those wind farms being built. There's also uncertainty about how the predator communities and their prey might respond to the presence of new offshore wind farms, and so that uncertainty means that we're not clear how we should develop those assessment frameworks to consider cumulative effects when we start building additional wind farms adjacent to existing structures. So our approach in PrePARED is to collect new data around existing offshore wind farms, both on predators and their prey, and to use this information to test and develop the assessment frameworks to better predict cumulative effects of further developments. Broadly, our objectives are to understand how prey behaviour, distribution and communities may change in response to new structures from offshore wind farm developments, to assess how those predators, seabirds and marine mammals, respond to changes in their prey and also the presence of the structures and other activities around the wind farms, and ultimately to explore how we can best incorporate that new understanding into cumulative impact assessments and the frameworks that are being used for consenting. The project is broken down into 4 work streams. The first of these involves data collection and field studies in the Firth of Forth, looking at predators and their prey in relation to wind farms that are currently being built, the focus here being on seabirds and the work around the Isle of May. The second work stream focuses on data collection in the Moray Firth, where the predators of interest are marine mammals, particularly harbour porpoises and their prey, and here the wind farms have been in place for several years now. Workstream C takes that new information and integrates it into assessment models and looks at transferability for use across other sites in the UK and further afield. And then finally, Workstream D focuses on dissemination of this information to improve our impact assessments and offshore wind farm policy developments in the future. What I'd like to do in the remainder of the talk is just give a few highlights from each of the work streams about work that's been carried out in this first year of the project. Under Workstream A, fisheries surveys were carried out by Marine Scotland Science in June, July, and then again in August, primarily in the Firth of Forth around pre-construction sites, with a little bit of work in the Moray Firth around existing wind farms. Unfortunately, the seabird tracking work that was to be carried out from the Isle of May by CEH at the same time as these surveys had to be cancelled due to avian flu, but it's hoped that this work will go ahead in 2023. The surveys that were carried out were fisheries acoustic surveys with some baited camera work, grab sampling and trawl samples, which also generated fish samples which are being used to look at the energetic content of these prey by SMRU Consulting, and this will be incorporated into assessment models by themselves and BIOS for the seabirds. In the Moray Firth, PREPARED work has involved fish tracking, where in April, Marine Scotland Science and the University of Exeter laid an array of multiple acoustic receivers around turbine sites in both Beatrice and Moray East offshore wind farm, and a number of fish have been tagged with active acoustic tags, and this will continue over the next 2 years of the project as we look at movements of fish around the wind farm sites and how they use these new artificial reefs. Further work on the distribution and composition of prey communities around the new wind farm sites was carried out by the University of Exeter in August, using baited underwater video cameras, stereo cameras, which will allow the identification and measurement of fish at a range of sites around turbines of different ages and at reference sites. In parallel to Exeter's fish work, the University of Aberdeen put out an array of echolocation detectors to assess variation in the occurrence and foraging activity of porpoises across these sites in relation to structures and local fish densities. Data from this first field season are now being processed and analysed, and we're working with others in Workstream C to incorporate these into improved assessment frameworks. Also planning further field work for 2023 around construction sites in both the Moray Firth and the Firth of Forth. And we'll be presenting these early data at stakeholder workshops over the year. And if you'd like to find out more about the project, then please do get in contact with the project coordinators at Marine Scotland Science. Thank you.